Good morning,
Good,
people.
good morning, everyone. Oh, it's lovely to be here, isn't it, Chris?
It is, and good morning to you, Karen.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here. It's Monday and it's start your day. And it's really lovely to be with you all again. And I hope that you're going to come on and talk to us today. And I hope you're going to start sharing because sharing is caring. So we look forward to that. We've got a wonderful show today. We have Kate May coming up with her tarot scope later on. And our lovely Chris has got a very interesting, well, two interesting questions to put to you all so that we can get those little grey cells working. So, how's your weekend been, Chris? What have you been up to?
Well, been busy working. Yesterday I did a quick trip to America and back in one day
Oh, wow, that was very clever of you.
via the beautiful Zoom. So did a lovely
Yes.
church service. Yeah, I'm working. So, and I know you were quite busy as well, weren't you, over the weekend?
Yes, I was visiting Stafford. I was there on Saturday and then I came back and yesterday I just had the normal day doing a bit of shopping, doing dinner and just sort of having a chilled Sunday afternoon and evening watching a bit of TV, which I absolutely love. So that's really, really good. So it's nice
What a
sometimes to work and play as
what a
well.
wonderful life and easy life you have. How do you escape the Sunday services?
Well, not exactly. I mean, at the moment, I'm not doing that many because I haven't got many bookings in Lincolnshire because I haven't sort of introduced myself to everybody. But I did get a phone call yesterday from Grimsby Church for some bookings next year. But of course, I haven't. My face-to-face services have sort of dwindled slightly because I'm not. I'm sort of no one knows I'm here. So I'm hiding at the moment, but I'm always open to do more work if and when it comes. So I know you're busy with services. I know you're here, there, and everywhere, face to face and Zoom as well.
I think as well
So
as working mediums, I think, set your intention now where you mean you've had a good thing, you've moved to Lincolnshire, obviously.
mm,
So I think as mediums, we've got to remember it's good to be of service, but it's also
mm,
good to be good to ourselves. And sometimes it can be tiring when you're doing maybe what, around anywhere between 10 and 20 services in a month. That's a
yes,
lot. And we've
yes,
got to make
yeah.
time for our families, our partners, our spouses as well, because even though they're on that journey with us, um, we have to be part of their lives, not the other way around.
Well, definitely. I mean, my partner doesn't tend to work on Sundays, so if I'm serving a church, he comes with me because he says, "Well, I'll do the driving," which I'm always very grateful for, and you can just get yourself ready for service. So at least he said, at least we're together.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. But it is also nice just to put your feet up and just potter about and just have not a normal Sunday, but a Sunday where you just have your meal, you relax, you do things in the garden or whatever, or you might go for a walk or just do general stuff. So
Yes.
it's nice to do that as well because you do have to have a break from everything that goes on within your work. And I do find, I think, since I've been working sort of full time, if you like, as a medium, I don't stop. I always keep going. If somebody calls me, I speak to them. If there's a message, I answer it. But then I think that because we're so connected to social media and we're so connected to what we do, in any walk of life, in any job, we do tend to have that connection and want to sort of answer it or get it done and dusted as it comes in.
Yeah,
So,
I've learned to now have a day off and not do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Mondays is usually our days, Sarah and
yeah.
I's day, because Sunday, obviously, I do services and open that, and then it'll allow Sarah to finish off little bits she needs for work.
Mm.
Stace Shaw, good morning. Um, Name's not Nick, I'm afraid. We're a bit too late on that one.
Good morning, Stace. Nice to see you. Yes, we've got Chris with me this morning because As you know, Nick is going to be our outside broadcaster, and he's not on the show live anymore, but he still is part of it. So yeah, but slip of the typing, I think there. So
Well,
let's just say, shall we say some hellos to our? There we go.
morning,
She's
Chris. There we are. All is
thanks,
forgiven.
Stace. Thanks, Stace. So let's say hello to our SPTV family, because we want you to be part of what we're doing this morning and every other morning moving forward. So
Yeah.
it's nice to sort of say hellos. So do you want to kick it off this morning, Chris, with saying all the some hellos?
Well, yes, we can do. But first of all, let's just remember what the new saying is. If it ain't
Oh,
free,
yes.
it ain't SPTV. So remember that. If anybody asks you for money for a reading or to pay or to go to follow a link, please don't do it. It isn't this site.
That's a good reminder, because last week we did have some cloning going on, didn't we? So we don't
We
want
did.
any of that going on anymore. So just remember Chris's new saying: if it ain't free, it ain't SPTV. So I'll start off this morning. Morning, Cliche. Nice to see you. So we've got
Yes, and
some.
good morning, anybody else who's sat there and hasn't said anything. And Natalie. So the question I wanted to put forward here.
Hold on. We've got to do some more hellos first,
Oh,
Chris. Hold on.
sorry.
We've got to do our hellos. Hello, Kelly. Nice to see you.
Oh, and Helen Mansell. Good morning.
Good
Jane
morning,
Wilson.
Jane Wilson. Nice to see you.
Oh, and it's that man again. Good
Morning,
morning, our
Neil.
friend Neil.
Yes. Nice to see him with us. Good morning, Shaz Fairy. Nice to have you with us.
And Jane O'Rourke. Good morning.
The lovely Ashley Oliver. Good morning to you. Ashley, I hear that you got homemade sponge cake from Richard. So it's good to see that you're still up and about. I'm sorry, Richard, I couldn't resist that one. I'm
Okay.
sure it was lovely. I'm sure it was lovely.
Good morning,
Right.
Becky, also. Yes, we're having a peaceful start to the day.
Good morning, Mary. Nice to see you.
And Zoe, good morning as well. Morning,
Spirit
Chris
of
Karen.
love. Nice to see you.
And Sam B, good morning.
Denise McMullen. Nice to see you. Oh, it's your first time. Well, a
Just,
very warm welcome.
and Julie Caswell, good morning as well.
Hello, Debbie Callow. Nice to have you with us.
Oh, Chris is on his second show and has his own catchphrase. I love it. Get a hashtag going. What a brilliant idea, Ashley.
Absolutely. So you'll have to start doing that hashtag, Chris. That's wonderful. Hello, Nicola. Nice to have you.
Oh, God
So
has spoken.
for all those people that have joined us that we haven't said hello to or are still coming on, good morning, Susan Robin. Nice to see you. We welcome you, and we're going to have a wonderful show this morning. But Chris has a question for you. So pin back your ears, because it's going to be a good one.
Well,
Hello, Luca. Lovely to see you. And Becky.
yeah, good morning, Luca. Nice to see you. It's nice to have young people on the show,
Absolutely.
too. Well, I don't know about you, Karen, but I've heard this saying a couple of times, and I want to know what our viewers think on this as well. And so if you could put your thoughts forward, we would be very grateful. And that is the saying that I've heard is, you are only as good as your guides. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you think that's a true saying, or do you think it's false? Why? And we'll be discussing that as we go through the show this morning. So give it a bit of thought. Let us know what your thoughts are. It's always interesting for us, isn't it, Karen?
Oh, definitely. It's nice to pose questions because it gets those little grey cells working. And the thing is with this movement, you know, lots of people pose questions, lots of people think different things.
Yes.
And I think a lot of it is down to your own experience. But what we've also got to realize is that we are evolving all the time as mediums. And what we thought was sort of, say, even 6 months ago might have changed. And when you get a group of people together, people put all their different views in the pot. And they've, you know, they talk about things and they express their views, and that can help someone else think differently. You know, it might sort of, if they're sitting on the fence on something, you know, listening to different points of view. But I always say that you've got to, whatever you feel, resonates with you, is right for you at that particular time. But it's not to say that it's going to change all the time.
And as mediums, let's not forget, in that discussion, we actually learn. You know, just because we're a working medium doesn't mean we know it all. Because as you pointed out, we're still evolving ourselves too. And we can
Mm,
still learn from the student. And I often do. When they pose a question, it opens me
yes.
up to a different way, a train of thought. And I think, oh, I've not looked at it that way before. Let me look at it. Let me go discover. Let me
Mm,
try and digest what has been said here, you
mm.
know? And I'm sure
And
you're the same with that.
I am absolutely. Do you know what? I love a good discussion, and I have quite a few students that pose questions, and then part of you thinks, oh, you know, the only thing is, I say to all my students, I can only, this is my opinion, and I would say today that this is our opinion on what we think with our experience so far. But you see,
Exactly.
guides can be, because of the nature of the world, guide people automatically think that it's, you know, someone that has got, well, yes, they do have more knowledge, they guide us, they help us, they encourage us, they are that supportive role. But as Debbie Callow says, we do have our own free will, we do have our own control, we you know, we can do what we want to do. And sometimes it might not be right for us, um, from that moment, from where we are now. But it's not to say that the things that they've suggested or the things that they want us to do is not going to happen as we move forward on our journey. But I think that it is a journey. It is a journey that we go on with our work, and the guides support us. And of course, the guides change. We're not going to have, sometimes we have the same one throughout, but sometimes we have different people that come to support us. So I think that our guides and our team, as I like to call it, our team, they support and change as we change. That's the way I think about that. So
That's
what
a,
do
yeah,
you pose?
that's quite, yeah, I quite understand that, but you know, I'll come from it at a different angle than what you have here. When you
Mm,
say our guides change, for me, and this is my opinion, and from what I've understood of the spirit world, they don't change per se, but what happens is you get so many, you know, you've got so many people working with you in the spirit world,
yeah,
too many to mention and too many to understand. And what I
mm,
understand from the spirit world, from, as again, my opinion, and what I've learned is that once one guide has given you what you've needed and taken you up to that point,
yeah,
then it may be time for them to step back and go and do their own learning. And another one who's already been there with you in the background, but steps forward and can
yeah,
take you into that next stage of your progression, of your evolvement here.
yeah,
But the actual concept that you are only as good as your guides, really for me, is not a good saying at
no,
all, because
no,
then what that's actually saying is well, what it's actually doing is we're limiting that knowledge of the guides. We're limiting them, saying, well, they don't know as much as what we think they know.
mm,
So we have to look at it from all kinds of angles as well. So it is, you know, here's one as well that, Debbie's actually saying, do guides have guides? Well, if you look at the books of Silver Birch, which are quite well known,
mm.
Silver Birch wasn't actually Silver Birch, was he?
No,
He was relaying from those on high
yeah.
and through him. So,
Mm.
in a way, we can use that saying that guides do have guides in that
Isn't it
way.
like, isn't it like a layer? I
A
look at it
tier
as a layer,
system.
a tier
Yes.
system, like a layer.
Yeah.
And I feel that you have it's sort of like, like it interchanges. So it's like one moves up, then that's how I was shown it. So it's sort of like interchanges,
Yes.
and it interchanges. And sometimes when I have a lovely guide who works with me, and she's always been around me, but then when she moved away for a little while, but then she came back, and she comes back for certain things. She comes back for me, when it's difficult to explain, but then I've felt other uh, members of my team come closer. And when I said the word change, well, what I meant was it's a change for me. So there's a
Mm.
change of energy around me. You think, oh, that's someone that I don't recognize or feel the presence of. So it's sort of
Yeah.
like an evolving tier for me when I'm working and
Well,
in
it's true.
different
It's just like
situations.
as Julie Caswell who says here, my guides and helpers have said in our home circle that they are learning and expanding with us. And that is in fact what is happening there, as you've just explained,
Mm,
Karen, that they take us so far and then their learning needs to expand as well.
mm,
And so
mm,
they may step back and progress in their own progression because when we pass from this life to the next, doesn't mean we naturally know everything and it's all there. We still have to evolve ourselves as we go forward in this life and the lives going forward.
mm,
It's
absolutely.
you know, but with the spirit guides too, is we've got to understand that they're there to help us progress.
Yeah.
That is what they want to do, to help us gain a greater insight, a greater understanding, perhaps learning what our life is about and what it could be like. And
Yeah.
time and time again, they keep telling us that, and time again, we don't learn.
Time and time again, we don't listen. And
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing. We don't listen. We can all be like stubborn children, can't we? Go, I'm going to do it my way, and go off, but then we come back. And maybe that's why in life we have to sort of like, we go off, we try things, then we come back and we think, hang on a minute, maybe I should have listened, maybe I should have, not done that way. So I think it's all part of that. And maybe, when a mum sends her child off to school, and I know it's school time at the moment, and lots of kids are going back to school, and they go into nursery, they go into preschool, and then school, and then secondary school. They go through those different stages of learning. We do that as we evolve, as we become a child a young a teenager, a young adult, and so on. And just because you gain age and you gain experience, sometimes you haven't always learnt the lessons, or you look back and you think, oh, maybe I should have gone, maybe I should have done that differently. But it doesn't matter physically. You can always go back and try to relearn things, try things,
Oh,
admit
yeah.
you're wrong, do all those sorts of things. So in the physical world, we're learning and evolving physically, but also our spirit is learning and evolving. And I think that's where our guides and helpers come to help us move and learn and move forward.
Yes, because
So,
that's what we're here. Essentially, that's what we're here for, the experience to
mm,
learn, to grow, to evolve. I can remember there's a few pieces of information, advice and things that I've said that really stuck in my mind that my guide actually said to me many, many years ago. And one of them was, I'll never forget this, when I asked a question, and I've forgotten what this question was, but it was something very deep and profound. And my guide actually said, I don't quite understand that in the way that you're putting it forward. Let
Mm.
me go and find that
Yeah.
out. Let me go and learn about that. And for me, that was really profound because they
Yes.
were just didn't give me any old glad trap, which then could have been my own mind. But the
Yeah.
fact that he said, I need to understand it in the way that you put it, I need to work with it, find out, and go and understand.
Mm.
So he went forward, and true to his word, he did come back at it.
Mm.
But there was another thing also, which is kind of what Becky's saying here. How do we decide who, what is a guide? And I'll never forget when I was, we all go through it. Who are you? Can I have your name? What did you do?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
that human thing that we need to identify so that
Yes.
we got somebody visually that we can identify with. And
Yeah.
my guide for 20 years never let me know who they were. But he said
Mm.
one thing which was knocked me sideways, which was, know me by my presence, not by my name. Because any fool can fool you with by my name, but they cannot fool you with my presence.
Oh, I love that. I love
And
that.
I have
That,
never forgotten those words ever
yeah.
because it was so true
Yes.
for
Yeah. I
me,
like that. There.
you know.
Yeah, I understand that because I think even in one of the in Silver Birch, and still for those of you, Silver Birch was the guide of Maurice Barbanel. And Maurice Barbanel is one of the pioneers of spiritualism, and he was a writer, and he was part of the Psychic News, and he's written a book called This is Spiritualism, and it's quite an old book now, but it's still a good book, and it talks about the old-fashioned circles. It speaks about the time that he sat with Estelle Roberts, who was also an excellent medium back in the day, and the experiences they had in that circle. And he talks about that. But then of course the books were written when he he sat in a circle, and Silver Birch, who was his guide, came through and spoke. But because of the time, and even now we want to know, all guides used to be sort of either Native American Native American Indians, nuns, or I think because that's we look at, as humans, we look at those people as spiritual. They were of a spiritual ilk, if you like. And he said, call me Silver Birch. And this is so he perceived himself so that the group, the circle, could have something tangible to understand.
Yeah,
And
exactly. You know,
there was lots of books. Well, I say lots, I'm not quite sure. I think there's about 6 or 7 books written. There's questions and answers,
I've got
which is
them
a
here behind me.
yeah, yeah.
There was just a question just there before, you know, um, Richard, I don't know if you can put it back up, but it was a lady who asked, yes. Um, and she put, ultimately, why do we come here? Ultimately, what is the purpose of learning as much as we can before we pass? And then we need to learn more. What's your thoughts on that, Karen?
I think it's an ongoing process. I just think we come here for, it's a different experience. So we come here, this is just my views on it. We come here to have a physical experience, maybe to learn the physicality of life, to understand what the ups and downs of pain, emotions, to live a physical life. Um, and and I do think that we learn I think when we come here, it's about understanding what we already know, if that makes sense. When we come here, we know that we come from love, from the spirit. We know that, but it's understanding how we get to that. So I think this physical experience is about um, feeling the ups and downs, going through disappointments, going through the wonderful feeling, the power of love, the physical life. I think it's that we learn. And then when we go on, maybe we have to sort of, for want of a better word, download those experiences, and perhaps that makes us grateful and thankful for the small things in life, for the things that we already know. But
Yeah.
sometimes we don't think that we know it, but we do. And as I get older, I'm realizing that the simple things in life matter to me more than the big things that I thought did matter.
Mm.
You know,
Do
the
you know, I'm going to put it very
materialism.
simply, a very, very simple, and I love this explanation, which is if you come from a place, i.e., the spirit world, that is all white and white in its purest form, how do you ever understand true color?
That's an
And
interesting one.
that's what we come to learn. So we
Mm,
come from a place of love, but we need to understand its many facets of that
yeah,
love. And we have to experience through that, through pain, through understanding, through the act of love, you know?
mm,
So we have to go through all those very different stages to actually furnish us with things like what you're just speaking about, compassion, kindness, you
yeah,
know? These are the true treasures of the soul, you know? So this experience in the physical life helps us as we move forward. You know, it's the ultimate aim as we go forward is to lighten our vibration, as it were.
yeah.
We come
I,
that much closer to the God essence, the divine essence, the be all, end all, whatever you wish to call it, whatever it means to you.
mm,
And that is what we are doing. That is what that learning is. So that ultimately we come from God, we go back to God, but we go back with such learning and understanding,
mm.
you know?
Is it, I just want, before we go to a couple of questions, it's interesting because I think now as I get older, when we have confliction in our life, when we're pulled in different directions by what to do or what to say and things like that, it's almost as if we're pulled by what we already know, by what we by the experiences that we're having here, the physical experience, and how that makes us feel. Sometimes,
Mhm.
like we're pulled in two different directions. And sometimes that, I think, is learning. We learn to deal with those struggles. We learn to overcome those struggles by just going back to what we already know from a place
Yeah.
of love.
And also
So,
to
yeah,
understand that, you know what, to admit we're wrong.
yeah,
We've got
yeah,
it wrong, you know, because this whole life, we've heard it as a school classroom, schoolyard, whatever. It is a learning. It's about learning. And we
it
don't
is.
learn by not getting it wrong.
That's
And
right.
that's the
That's right.
beauty of it. That is the beauty of what we're doing, is that no matter what we do, say, or what, there is a path to forgiveness. There is a path to progress. There is a
Mm,
path to understand and unfold yourself as the true essence of what you are. You know,
exactly.
can we just answer this question here from Helen? I was told I had a guide that sat under a tree. Ooh, he wasn't called Buddha, was he, by any chance? You know, in my garden. I have since moved, and would my guide come with me to my new home, or does he stay at my old house? Well, he's with you, Helen. He's not with the house. He's with
Yeah.
you. So he'll be with you wherever you are. Perhaps the sitting under the tree was just contemplating while you were doing something else. We
Mm.
don't know. It depends how you perceive your guide and how you imagine them to be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, we all move many times in our lives, Helen. Gosh, I've lost count the amount of times I've moved. So yeah, I think they are with us, our guides and helpers. They help us. Not they're not connected to where we live or where we go. They are with us. Wherever we go, they are. So yeah,
Yes. I mean,
yeah.
they've elected to go on this journey with us. They've elected to learn themselves from this, from our experiences, but
Mm,
also they're there to help and aid and assist us when we ask for that help.
Yeah.
They will not interfere because, as a few of our viewers have said today, this is our experience. We have free will. But
Exactly.
should we
Exactly.
ask, they're there,
Mm.
you know, they are there to help that with that helping hand.
Here's one for you, Chris. Natalie Bentley says, what I don't understand is why do we need to learn the bad if we are in the spirit world?
I don't necessarily think we learn the bad in the
No.
spirit world, but we do learn the bad and the difference here because it enriches the soul, the experience that it gives us. It teaches us the different shades of love, as it were, or the different shades and the essence of who we are. You know, going through bad, sometimes what we perceive as bad might not necessarily be bad to somebody else. You know, we've got to look
Yeah.
at it that way. It's what we've been conditioned to look at, what we've been conditioned to understand. But going through something that at that time makes that experience not a pleasant one for us, that learning may be how do you react or how do you act
Yes.
in that? And
Mm.
then that will strengthen the soul and the spirit on your
Mm.
choices because of that free will that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's, you know, life can have its ups and downs. And when you think it's been, you know, in my lifetime, when you think all is lost or you're really fed up or you think, why me or whatever, then something comes around the corner to make you smile, to make you have faith again in life and in humanity and in your spirit. And you just never know when that comes. You just have to take each day as it comes and just enjoy that moment. I think there's been quite a few books written over the years about being present in the moment, because we always think about the past and what's happening in the future. We forget the bit where we are now. So if you think about today, we're all together, we're having a discussion, and we are learning, we are evolving in this moment. So yeah.
We are, and that's
So
what you've said the ultimate thing there. We are evolving. There's not a
mm,
person alive here today on this planet, or indeed in the spirit world, who is not evolving. Whatever that purpose is, that's individual to you.
yeah.
You know, what do you think of this? Trevor has said, I have a wonderful way of describing love as a temple or with two pillars that are separated but joined by a roof with the winds of chance dancing between them.
Oh,
How
that's lovely, Trevor. That's
how
beautiful.
beautiful that is. That really is. And I
That
think
is
that
really
kind of
lovely.
sums that up.
It does. Definitely. Definitely. It's Naomi Brown. How do we get to know our guides? How do we talk to them?
Well, we've got to make time. You've got to make time for yourself, as it were. You know,
Mm,
sit. You can do this through meditation by just sending out those silent thoughts and just sitting in the silence. And through that, you know, people say, but I sit there and I feel nothing. Well, understand what is you. You really have to understand how you think, how you act, and how you are. Then you can start to see the subtle differences between which is you and which is not, you know. But
mm.
I would always say start by that quiet meditation, contemplation, you know. Also, you let your intuition speak to you, you know. And there's many different ways that our guides can talk to us through. Synchronicity is one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden I'm drawn to a certain phrase in a song or a phrase in a book, and I know that's answering. That is answering me because why did I pick up on that straight away?
It's interesting. I'll share a little story, if I may, about when I first started in my development. And I sent out a question. I just said, well, how can I learn more? How can words, and because I've always been quite interested in the philosophy, but I hate great big passages. So Not so much now, but this is how I used to be. So I was drawn one day. I used to work quite close to Piccadilly, and I went into this old-fashioned bookshop. I don't know if anybody knows it, but it's called Hatchard's in Piccadilly, and it's one of those old-fashioned bookshops, and it's got about 3 floors, and it's probably, I think it's one of the oldest bookshops in London. And I walked in, and I was just drawn to go to the back of the shop and up the staircase, and right at the back was the spiritual books, as they quite often are, funny enough. And I just picked up this little book, and it was a positive thought book. And in it was lots of quotes, lots of positivity, lots of things to get my little grey cells working and thinking just on a small basis. And you know what? I bought that book probably about nearly 30 years ago, and it's falling apart, but I've still got that book. And I used to carry it around with me. And when I just used to open it up and ponder about a particular quote. And that's how I started to sort of work with my speaking, and work with it started to make me think. So I was guided to go to that bookshop after I sent out that thought to the universe, to my guides and helpers. But then I was
Mhm.
guided to go into that bookshop
Exactly. But it's
to
also
find what I needed.
yeah, but also discovering your way, which is individual
Yeah.
to you, which fits with you. Now, Becky's asked here, can spirits and guides change your path? I've been told that someone in the spirit world was working towards something for me. I believe it, and I believe it's happened. Do you believe that's possible, Karen?
To a degree, yes, but unfortunately, we have sort of like the stubbornness of us, and sometimes we've got to find that belief in self as well. And I think that's one of the major parts that we have to do. We have to understand ourselves, as you'd already said, Chris. And I think that maybe our pathway, our spiritual pathway of our work is there, but it's us having that potential. We've got that potential, but it's us having to want to do it, to believe that we can do it, and acceptance and surrender to it to a degree. So, but then, lots of things have been said. People can say, oh, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that, but we have the free will. We can do what we want to do. I know some people that could be wonderful mediums if they wanted to, but they choose not to at that moment in time. It's not to say that things might change along the way, and they may be sort of like drawn back onto that path, but sometimes we have to experience maybe the things that physically in life. We have to go through different things, but everything that we do enriches us as a person.
Mhm.
So I think it's got to be the right time. And I think it's got to be the right time, because we have a part to play in what we do within our life, I think.
Oh, exactly. I think is to answer her question to this question here is, yeah, I believe that guides will give us that nudge and
Mm.
say, shouldn't you have done this? Because my guide is a great one for saying this after the fact. Don't you think you should have done that? And I'll say, well, yes, I do now, that I've learned, you know. Um, so yes, I think I do agree what they can't live our life for us. They've already done their stint on Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
But they will help us and give us that guiding nudge when you know you can, let's get, let's remember what you're about. Let's remember what we're doing here, and
Mm.
then it is down for us to decide on that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So when we're actually in need, they are there to help and guide us. But let's remember these are suggestions because it is down to you.
Absolutely. And I think that the guides and helpers understand us. So with me, for instance, like your guide will nudge you and say, well, maybe you should have done that. Mine has to drop a little seed, and it has to ferment for me. And I've always said I need things to be in neon lights. Um, I can't, don't give me subtlety. I need sort of like that push in the right direction. and I need for things to sort of drop and slowly grow within me so it feels right. So I
Yeah.
think that, I think it's a personal thing as well.
Of course. I always have that saying, don't show me the obvious because it's too obvious. You know,
And
for me,
again, we change, don't we? We change.
of
What was right
course
for
we
us
do. Yes,
in our
we
early
do.
development maybe isn't now.
Yeah.
So Victoria Witcher says, I would like to know how angels fit in. What are they, etc.? I notice they are included in the principles, but rarely hear that they are mentioned in a church service, etc. So what's your thoughts on that, Chris?
I believe angels are with in all walks of life. I believe there are angels amongst us. There are two people which I've written about in my book that I believed were my angels for me here, who helped me through
Mm,
a very, very difficult time and were the
mm,
guiding light and the guiding force and showed me what love was, you
yeah,
know? So for me, they were my angels. It's whatever your perception is of an angel for you. You know, I never see my guide as a being such as, you and I, but I
mm,
see them as light,
yes,
as light
yeah,
coming forward. And, quite a lot of religions and faiths of all walks of life see that as the same way, but they describe that as an angel. So
yes.
yeah, for me, yes, I do believe in angels, but I don't think they're always with their halo and wings.
Yes, I mean, I suppose, the angelic sign is always a comfort. It's always, it makes you feel good when there's an angel by your side. But I'm like you, I believe that there are angels all around us, some in human form. And I think that they are, maybe, maybe those people are sent to give us that strength, to give us that help during times of need, because sometimes we need that physical touch. I believe that sometimes when you sit in that silence, when you're getting in touch with your guides and you feel that just sense of peace, and I've felt that beautiful feeling of love, especially when I've needed it, when I've needed that beautiful sense of the presence of love, and you just know it's love because it encompasses you and you feel complete at peace. um, and I've had little signs from the spirit world, or signs from my loved ones that they are there. And I think that we just understanding that presence of love is around us from the spirit, but also sent in human form as well, is also
Exactly.
important.
I
Yeah,
mean, as human beings, I believe we overcomplicate it all. We overcomplicate everything. If we can
yeah,
just sit, be still, come from a place of loving, forgiveness, compassion, kindness, and just sit within that, then we can get our answers. We can touch something far beyond what we absolutely understand.
definitely. And Tammy Sutton says, do my guides have any messages for me, and why are they not communicating with me? Well, just to add on, Tammy, to what Chris has just said and what we've been talking about, we need to sometimes listen. We need to put the time in and sit in that silence. And they will communicate with you. But so it's the subtlety. Um, sometimes for me, and I can only talk from my own experience, for me, sometimes I might pick up a book. Sometimes there might be a song that comes on, or sometimes I might be having a conversation. It's a little bit like that. There's a wonderful, I think I saw it on Facebook, there's a wonderful story where a priest is sitting on an island, and the island is being flooded, and it's all, and everybody needs to evacuate, and everybody's being evacuated, and the boats come, the helicopters come, and everybody's saying to the priest, you've got to leave, you've got to leave, and he's saying, no, I'm waiting from a sign from God. God will show me the way. God will come to my aid. And of course, he goes down with the island, and when he reaches when he reaches the gates of heaven, so to speak, he says to God, "Why did you forsake me? Why were you not there?" And he says, "Didn't you see the boats? Didn't you see the helicopter that came to rescue? That was a sign from me." And it's supposed to be a bit tongue in cheek and a little bit funny, but sometimes the signs are there if only we look for them. They can be in plain sight. So
Yeah,
I think,
I think you're right. But the trouble is that we just live in such a busy world, and our minds are always immersed in all of that. And I just think we sometimes forget to just switch off, take a break, and just find that peace and that stillness. You know,
mm,
it's it's um it's not an easy thing to do nowadays, like our ancestors used to do when they didn't have the TV, they didn't have Facebook, all of these things.
there are definitely more distractions now than there was even when I first came into the movement, just over 30 years ago. There was you sat in circle, you went to church, and you didn't get, that's what you did. Monday was circle night, Sunday was going to church. But there are more distractions, but there's also more stuff with Zoom, with what we're doing now on SPTV. But our lives have got very much busier and there are more distractions. So we say that we haven't got time to sort of sit. So in that regard, I try to find ways of still connecting with the power, still connecting with myself. And I do that through music. I do that through walking in nature, being outside. And I know you love being outside in your garden, Chris, because you've got a beautiful garden.
Oh, I love
And
and walking as well. Yeah.
yeah, so I think when you connect with nature, which is also connected to God and the universe, that can also give you a sense of peace, give you a sense of belonging, give you a sense of understanding who you are and also understanding what's around you and who's around you from the world of spirit.
Mm.
So I
I,
think that we just have to, take time to do those things.
I think we have to truly understand also and accept we are not separate.
Mm,
We are connected to all that is. And once we start to understand that, feel that, live that, then I think the process becomes a little simpler. We have a greater understanding. You know, I kind of look at things when I want things now and it's not happening, then I will look and I think, well, maybe it's just the timing's just slightly off. And
mm.
there's something I need to learn. Here's one that it says here that guides, are they actually people that lived here before? So what are your thoughts on that, Karen?
Well, they probably are, but at the end of the, I don't, you see, it's that physical thing again, isn't it? And I know some people that have tried to research who their guides are from years ago, but to me, it doesn't matter who they were before. They're walking with me now, and wanting to blend with me. So they probably were, or maybe they weren't. We don't know. And at the end of it, does it matter? That's the way I look at it.
You
Does it
know,
matter?
I kind of want to say, has everybody been to London? No. Some have and some haven't. Let's
Mm,
look at our
mm,
guides like that. Has everybody been to Earth? No. So I think there are both, as you've said here. You know,
mm.
I also I have another saying here, which I love my little sayings, as you'll
I
figure
say,
out.
they're getting good. They're getting good.
And that one is tell me who I am, not who I was. And I think that goes for guides or for for the spirit world as a general. We should be looking at who
Absolutely.
they are, not who they were,
Yes.
because who
Yeah.
they were does not matter anymore.
Well, it's going back to that past thing, isn't it? We're in the past, or we're looking to the bit in the what they're here. They want to help us now. And I
They
think
do.
that's what we got to focus on. I've got to say, it's quite good. I've got my stories. you've got your sayings, and I think that quite marries up quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think for you there, Crystal, is if it suits you to know that they'd lived before, then that's perfectly fine. But I wouldn't hinge everything on it. I'd
Yeah.
accept who they are now and how they work with you and how, you interact with them. Because let's not forget, with guides, I have to say at this point as well, I'm not always very happy with the word guides.
No.
I like friends for me, my friends, my team, you know?
Mm.
So we've got to understand that we, as normal human beings, mortal beings, we have to build a relationship with those in the spirit world, those who have chosen to work with us or take this journey with us. Because if not, it becomes all one-sided, and that I think can make the communication process even more difficult. So it makes it more difficult than it needs to be. So
Mm.
build that relationship. How you do that is up to you. I talk to mine often. I
Yeah.
tell them my wants, my hopes, my fears, and I listen what comes back, and that works for me. So find the way that works for you. Because after all, this is your journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're individuals, and you know, we're individuals, and we're on this pathway. Bernie West says, do animals detect spirits or angels when they are around? What's your experience of that, Chris?
Absolutely. I've had dogs like yourself and things
Mm.
and cats in the past, and I often used to find one of my little dogs just staring at a corner,
Yeah.
and I kept thinking, why are you staring at the corner? And then I just asked the spirit world, if you're there, show me in some way, form, and I just saw a shadow move across. So I knew that
Yeah.
the spirit world were there. So yes, I do believe they are, because I think with animals, and this is again my opinion, my thoughts, is they're the purest of spirits. They
Yes.
don't overcomplicate it. We overcomplicate it. We overcomplicate it for them. But I do believe, that they are, they're all part of that great infinite spirit that we're all a part of, and there's that other burning question that some say it does, and some say don't. Do the spirit of animals go to the spirit world? For me, yes, especially our pets, because we've humanized them, and I've
Exactly.
seen my pets many, many times from the
Yeah.
spirit world until they chose to move on.
Yeah. There was a wonderful poem actually that I noticed on Facebook, and it was about the story about when pets go over, they call it the Rainbow Bridge. And it's it's, it was a lovely poem, and it's a real soothing, it's lovely if somebody's just lost a pet to read, and I'll see if I can find it on Facebook, and I'll see if I will post it on my page. But my dog, not my dog that I've got now, but my previous dog, definitely saw my father-in-law when he went over, because she was standing there wagging her tail and getting so excited, and she was looking at the top of the stairs, and we couldn't understand why. But if you think about it, Bernie, dog is God spelt backwards. So that's the way I look at
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. So it's just God in a different form in a lot of ways. So yes, I believe that they give us so much love and so much loyalty. We are very lucky to have our animals in our lives. So I think we're going to take a little bit of a break now, because everybody, I'm sure, is wanting to know what your week is going to be like for the week ahead. And there's one person that does that so beautifully with so much knowledge, and that is our wonderful outside broadcaster, the wonderful Kate May. So we're going to take a 5-minute break so that you can just listen to the words of wisdom. So Richard, it's 11:25. If you would kindly roll the VT.
Rolling.
everybody, my name's Kate May, Modern Day Mystic. You can catch me on katemay.co.uk. Do you like my little things? I was given them yesterday because I always lose my glasses. I don't care if they make me look 104. Okay, we are looking at your week ahead tarot readings for each zodiac sign. It is the 9th of September. 9th of September. So, Aries. Chariot, my favourite card. You are overcoming obstacles this week, Aries. You are going to start to feel more focused. It's going to be important that you don't get distracted. You could easily be distracted this week. So try and stay on top of your goals, on top of things you're smashing in life. And you're going to start to feel a little bit more victorious. Things are coming good. Things are coming home to you now. Just stay focused on top of things and you can reach your goals. Taurus, Sun, loving that. Good news, celebration, success comes with you this week, Taurus. Enjoy things, let your hair down. Connect to your inner child, Taurus, this week and have some fun. It's a yes card. It's a very successful card. The Sun is happy families and indicates this week you're entering a positive phase. Gemini, take some time to reflect, to go within, to think about what it is you really, really want. You're being guided by a new light now, Gemini. So it's really time to take that meditation energy, go within, reflect. And I kind of feel like Geminis, you might want everything to pause for a minute while you just navigate where you want to go. So by being still in yourself, you'll be able to find that inner light that's going to guide you to your better, higher purpose. Leo, have patience this week, Leo. No, Cancer, sorry. Have patience, Cancer, this week. This is all about the long journey. There's healing, there's recovery. Cancer, this is talking about doing things in moderation this week. So make sure you've got a balance of your earthly things, your spiritual things, things around you. Get that balance so that you can navigate situations in a more harmonious and calm fashion there. Patience is needed, but there is a lot of healing around you this week, Cancerians, as well. And a little bit extra shining light from above where you might see some extra spiritual influences coming around you. You may see the symbols and signs here. But do things in moderation. Get that balance. Leo, whole new world coming in for you, Leo. You're going to start to feel fabulous. You're going to enter a new stage, a new chapter. Loose ends are being tied up, Leo, and you're ready to embrace a whole new cycle. Virgo, 2 of Wands. Exciting news is coming for you, Virgo, this week. You're able to move up, step up, and the whole world, you've got the whole world in your hands here. So I feel like new ideas are starting to move forward for you this week, Virgo. Embrace it there. I feel excited. Have the confidence to go for it. Libra, there could be some restrictions around you and perhaps the energy around you is a little bit lower this week. However, you've got a choice. You don't have to let things get on top of you. You can break free from any negative influences or things that are just getting you down. Be mindful, Leo, of not being controlled by someone or in a controlling situation that's not going to serve you. So break free from anything controlling. Remember, Libra, you have a choice. Scorpio, moving forward with your plans this week, Scorpio, you're starting to see things for what they are. You can see that light at the end of the tunnel and you're reaching positive milestones, Scorpio. So you're starting to make way in the world there. And plans, I feel excited, Scorpio, with your plans. Sagittarius, got a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, Sagittarius, this week, so try not to add more to it. However, you are coming to the end of a cycle. So that weight, that pressure, that stress and anxiety that you might have had, Sagittarius, you're coming to the end. It's all going to be worth it. So keep on going. Don't give up. You're almost there and you'll start to see a turning point very soon. Capricorn, keep calm. Don't throw anything out the water. Try and keep levels calm. Go within and connect to that inner you and that emotional you. I feel quite emotional, Capricorn, this week around your energy. Now, it is a card of getting over things and balance and says harmony. So emotionally, you will be feeling a bit better as the week pans out. And there's this emotional maturity around you about seeing the bigger picture. But I do feel I want to keep calm. I don't feel like I want to get stressed or anxious. So if there's anything around you, Capricorn, that makes you feel a little bit nervous or anxiety or just not quite yourself, I want to say go and spend perhaps time in the woods, nature, water, ground yourself, do some things that are going to make you feel good, Capricorn. But it is a balance card and it does talk about everything calming down this week. Aquarius, money is coming in for you, Aquarius. New money, new opportunity, perhaps a house move, but good news coming on offers of financial gain for you. And Pisces, you're juggling money a little bit here. Robbing Peter to pay Paul a little bit, but you've got what it needs to be able to do things. Think the challenging times are behind you, Pisces. You're able to keep your head above water now. And practically, you're able to make better choices this week. It feels like there could be some extra resources coming around you, Pisces. So you might find that you've got options to do this and do that to help your finances a little bit there as well. But you're able to balance things this week, Pisces, and go with the flow. If you want to book a reading with me, you can catch me on katemay.co.uk. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful. We're back. Thank you, Kate, so much for all that wonderful insight into the coming week. I know that all our viewers really love your wonderful tarot scope. So thank you for doing that. That's wonderful. Just a little some updates for what's happening this week, because I know that you've probably got your calendars out, your diaries out. So tonight we have the wonderful Deb Clark at 7 o'clock. You know, Deb is a wonderful medium and she brings some wonderful messages from the world of spirit. So that's 7 o'clock tonight. So please put that in your diary. There's nothing on Tuesday night, so you've got no shows on SPTV on Tuesday, but on Wednesday we have the wonderful Claire Pasterfield at 7 p.m. and then on Thursday we have Emily Baker at 6 p.m. So that's Deb tonight at 7, Claire on Wednesday at 7, but Emily on Thursday at 6. So don't forget, tune in and come and join us and be part of this wonderful family. So there's some dates, and there will be some new shows coming up. And also, I just said to Chris, we must get some guests on. And Richard's just mentioned somebody that he's going to talk to. So it's all happening on a Monday morning and it filters out into the week. So stay tuned with us and stay tuned to the channel for the rest of the week, because there's lots of exciting things and wonderful mediums that are part of the SPTV family. So
Absolutely.
Chris, let's carry on.
Yeah, can we just say a quick hello? Yeah, let's say a quick hello to Sharon, who's just joined us, and she's from sunny and warm South Wales. My goodness.
How lovely. Lovely.
It is. Send a bit here. That would be absolutely wonderful.
Yes,
You know,
it's a little bit cloudy this morning in good old Lincolnshire.
okay.
So hello, Colleen, nice to have you with us. And we're beautiful souls. That's nice, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go.
Please, she's asked an interesting question. What advice do you give to people who know they have a few of the clairs, but are afraid of development or don't necessarily know how or what to do with their gift going forward? Well, first of all, let's just say you don't just have a few of the clairs, you have all the clairs. They are yours by birthright, by your very being, your very nature of who you are. But you've got to think of it like a bit like a muscle, you know, until you exercise that muscle, it's never going to strengthen. So, you know, sometimes people work better with one than they do than the other. But I always am a firm believer, and I will stand on the rooftop and confirm this because I believe this to be true. 90% or more of us actually work with clairvoyance and clairsentience, because how on earth can we say, I see this and I feel this, if we do not? So we don't work with just one. We do work with two. But we can strengthen the all of these clairs and the clairaudience. You know, if you're willing to try and you're willing to work with it and accept that sometimes you get it wrong, then you've made those first steps. So until you try and start working with it, you're never going to know, you know? And going forward with that is what I would say is, if you haven't already joined a circle or a local church, then do so. This is where you will find people of like mind where you can work with. Perhaps your local church has an open circle where you can go and try and experiment and learn from those experiences. Would you say the same, Karen?
Absolutely. A good awareness class, open circle, or even if you can get with a good teacher, either online or in person. And you've got to go with the who feels right for you with teachers and circles. And that's what you need. And don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid. You know, it's your teacher, your circle leader will inspire you to find that confidence and belief in self, and that's what you need to do. And you know, sometimes I can remember when I first started, going back to what you were talking about with the clairs. For me, it was all about the feeling. I used to feel things because the clairsentience is probably one of the strongest clairs that we use, but they are all there. But remember, if you were bombarded with everything at once, you wouldn't know what to do with it. So you just have to take one step at a time. And that's also how our guides and helpers work with us as well. So take that risk and get yourself down to your local church, or put some feelers out for a good teacher or a good circle. You can't
And
go
always
wrong there.
and also remember that not every teacher is a one size that fits all as
Yeah.
well. You know, you need to experience many teachers to gain different insights. Quick hello to Rachel there as
Hello,
well.
Rachel. Ah, Rachel was a former host on SPTV, so welcome back, Rachel. Lovely to have you with us. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you. Sorry, I didn't know. Oh, we're having a heat wave in Southern California. Good grief. Well,
It's
what I can say is we're having a cold wave.
We are, but keep your questions coming, people. You know, we're talking about as mediums, are we as good as our guides? We've touched on working with that. We've spoken about angels. We've spoken about all sorts of things. So please keep your questions and your coming along. And Judith just says, I believe the animal kingdom are great teachers, bringing us gifted lessons of how, as humans, we have forgotten. Yes, Judith, absolutely. They really do. You know, again, I saw this little clip on Facebook, and it was about the pack of wolves. And each pack has sort of like a leader of the pack. And what was interesting, they've studied the wolves to see how they go about, how they look after their pack and what they do, and their way of life. And it was interesting because they've realized that the leader does not stand at the lead from the front, he's at the back. So he makes sure that all the older wolves or the younger wolves are looked after. So he protects them from the back when they're out sort of moving to new ground or everything like that. So I thought to myself, that's a very important lesson that us humans could learn from. Looking after his pack from the back.
I also think our pets teach us something that's very, very valuable, and that is unconditional love.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, yes, they've got to stay with us, but they choose to do it from this complete trust, this complete love. You know, I'll always, when you look in the eyes of an animal, you're looking straight into its soul, I believe. You know, I'm sure you do with your Oscar.
I do, yes. Yeah, I mean, he's honestly, he gives so much love, and it's quite interesting when I sit in the quiet, as we were talking about, when I sit in the quiet and I'm going into meditation, or I play meditation music. Ever since he was a puppy, he jumps up and sits by my side, and he's there with me. And what's interesting is he syncs his breathing to my breathing when we're in doing a meditation. So it's like he's probably sleeping, but to me it's like he's syncing with me. And he always knows when I feel a bit upset or tired or unwell, he's there. He does not leave my side. It's a wonderful feeling of that unconditional love. It really is.
Just going back to whether pets sense the spirit world. I'll always remember when I was a young man and sitting in my circle, and I think I was only about 16 or 18 at the time. And my circle leader used to have a beautiful little black poodle called Sooty. And it always went in the circle room with us, and it was yappy, yappy, yappy. But as soon as circle started, head down and shut up, and never heard a peep out of it until circle had finished. Read
Yeah.
from that what you will. You know, here's
Absolutely.
Sharon has asked an interesting question here. Do your guides and helpers stay with you forever? Karen, what's your thoughts?
Well, again, I think it's what we were saying earlier about that sort of tier center. I think that they are with us, but they sort of step back and come forward as and when we need them. So I think that they are around us, but sometimes we don't always need them for that particular issue or thing that we're going through. So they are with us, yes, but again, they just step back and move in and out of our lives a little bit like friends and people here. We have people that come into our lives and stay with us forever, and we know that they're there, but then we have people that are in our lives that move slightly away, and we sort of like correspond with them or speak to them every so often. But with the guides, I think it doesn't matter, that tie is there, and if we need them, they will be there. So I think it's sort of like, they come, they go, but they are a constant around us. That's just what my thoughts are.
I think we also have to look at it, the concept of forever. Okay, because forever to us as human beings is an awful long time. Okay.
It is.
And when we look at that concept of forever, let's not be as conceited to think that they will stay for us through this life and through the next life, because they have their own journey, their own line. What has happened is they have chosen to walk our path with us, at the side of us, while we experience this earthly life, to help us, to guide us, but also to teach them and to help them learn as well, too. Now, when we pass and go through the veil to the next life, then they may choose to go forward on their own journey, but we could still then have that contact, because as we know, it is all via a thought. A thought is an imminent process in the spirit world, So once we've done with our earthly life, they may then choose to choose somebody else to work with, or go and experience something themselves and learn from them, or we might help them the other way around.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a give and take, isn't it? It's a give and take situation. And if you think, this is quite interesting, Chris, because a lot of what sort of happens when we move to the spirit world is slightly mirrored, but in a more physical form, what happens to us here. It's about learning different things, but in a maybe more material way, and how we feel about things. But when we go to the spirit world, I think there's, I mean, I don't know, but this is just my perception of it, of what I've been shown and what I've been told, is that it's sort of like in a very contemplating way. I think we contemplate quite a lot, and have to sort of maybe make sense of, understanding the black and the white, or the color and the white, and how it sort of interacts together. And if you think about it, when you put colors, if you think when you put colors together, it's like a fusion, and when they all fuse together, they become a bright light. So that's interesting as well. So all the colors, as you were talking about, that we experience here, all the interesting facets of life, when you put them all together, they become like a one bright light, which is our experience of life, of this life, and also moving forward into the next, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a learning process, and as you quite rightly pointed out early on, it's about evolving. But what do we do with that learning? Have we learnt what we understood? how do we evolve on that premise? You know, what is it that we've actually learned about ourselves and that expression, you know, and how can we take that forward that'll be of benefit to all?
This is an interesting one. Alyssa says, I found at least 5 feathers this month. What is spirit trying to say? So what's your thought on signs and feathers and things like that?
Look, I've shot a pigeon. Sorry, that's just my sense of humor here. Okay. You know, I believe there are a lot of aspects for it. Perhaps 5, could that correspond to 5 people in the spirit world that want to let you know that they're around? Obviously, I can't say that for definite because I haven't read for you or done a reading for you. But, you know, feathers are quite often perceived as the spirit world being around us and just letting us know that they're there. Now, a feather, when you think of it, it is light, it's fluffy, it's warm, it's cozy. And so, you know, it's their way in saying, I'm around you gently. I'm here to bring that comfort. I'm here to bring that remembrance to you. I often find that a feather will appear when I'm thinking about somebody in particular. You know, that will generally happen. There are quite a lot of different ways, you know, philosophies on this, like robins, you know, and butterflies. Well, I can't say it's a robin for me because I've got 2 of them living in my garden, you know, so I see them constantly. So that one for me doesn't actually work, but the feather one, it's into the what you believe and how it feels for you, you know, and those feathers that keep dropping in to you, you know, well, maybe there's something you need to remember or someone that's needing to be remembered.
It's interesting because lots of people talk about feathers and things like that. And I do believe in signs, but for me, they've never been feathers. And I think, you know, if you see a feather on the pathway, well, it could be, as you say, you've got to think about the tangible thing. You've got to think about, well, signs do occur, but so do everyday occurrences. But the spirit world will let you know when they are around. And on this particular, again, I've got another story. Some years ago, I was on holiday and I was going through a particularly bad time, and I was with my son. And everywhere we sat in a cafe, we sat by a pool, I was surrounded by butterflies. I didn't think anything of it at first, apart from my son said, why are butterflies all around you? And it was only like a few months later that I was at the college and it came up in a reading. And they spoke about the butterflies being a sign of spirit around me and about the sign of transformation. And that was very important at that time. So for me, butterflies, when I see them, is sort of like the sign that I recognize that from, you know, my mum and dad being around me from the world of spirit. But that's just my personal thing. So I think, but there's other signs and other things that happen. But I think we've got to be realistic in life. Not everything is a sign from the spirit world, but if you've asked for something, or if you feel that you need something, then the spirit world will bring it. But the spirit world sometimes will give you strength, that strength to get over a particular situation. You know, sometimes if you've got to go through you know, your health or a relationship or even the loss of someone, and you think, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get through the funeral, or I don't know how I'm going to get through looking, you know, clearing out all their things, but you find that strength and you feel that love and that presence of them. That's them helping you to get over that you know, that particular occurrence in your life. So
I
it's
will
not
actually
always a
say,
sign.
yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I think use your intelligence, you know, do
Yes.
use use your God-given gift, your intelligence, but also understand the intelligence of the spirit world too.
True.
My old circle leader had a wonderful expression, a wonderful saying, and I live by it. Test ye the spirit, meaning that, you know, okay, if this has been given, then if that is the spirit world, then make it happen again.
Yes.
Then do it again, because it isn't beyond their capability, you know,
True.
to do
Very
that.
true.
And then we can say, well, we can sort fact from fiction. I also have a little story, yay, you know, here concerning butterflies. I remember one particular time I was feeling quite down about a certain thing that was going on, a situation. And I was out in nature having a walk, and I saw this butterfly kept circling me, and it kept coming round and coming round. And I'm saying, right, okay. So I thought, with those words ringing in my ears, my old circle ear, test ye the spirit. So I said, well, if this is true, you know, give me something a stronger sign than this, because this is just normal everyday occurrence. And I kid you not, almost instantaneously, I was surrounded in butterflies, absolutely surrounded that in them. Typical of me, I actually just said, why so many? You know? And then Spirit World instantly answered back and just said, you needed lifting up. And I
Oh, that's
never
beautiful.
forgot the poignance of the lift, the wings and everything of
Yes.
that. So the Spirit World
Yeah.
can and will do this for you, because in that moment, that really lifted my heart and lifted my spirit. I knew what I was going through. I was not in it alone,
Yes.
but I would come through the other side. And that
Yeah.
was what I deduced from that.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, how they are around us and they can give us strength, but they also give us the strength. They allow us to find that strength ourselves as well, because, you know, we can't always rely on the spirit world. We have to take responsibility for our own lives as well. We have to pick up the mantle and do what we want to do and fight, and the inspiration I think that they can give us. I mean, knowing, you know, since I started in spiritualism when I was in my late 20s, has sort of like moved me forward to understand me as a person and understand who I'm meant to be and to accept who I am. And I think that they can, and all the things that you go through, it's awakening that spirit within you. It's understanding that we are spirit, because we mustn't forget that we're spirit in a physical body. So we are spirit too. So they can inspire and maybe ignite that spark within us to understand that we are spirit and that we have strength, tenacity, compassion, kindness, all those wonderful things that help us within our lives. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Mm.
You know, that you couldn't spoke it better, really. It is about remembering who we are, but
Mm.
also remembering what we're about and what this is all
Absolutely.
for, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
keep it real.
Yeah.
That's the
Keep it
advice.
real. Keep it
Keep
real.
it real.
I just want to touch on this question, then I think we ought to do some readings for everybody. Jane O'Rourke says, I've lost myself in my spiritual self with depression. How do I regain what was so important to me? So, Jane, just want to say, you know, you're still you. And, you know, you've got to start maybe believing in yourself and finding that self, and think about the things that were important to you and think about how they made you feel. And I would also say, maybe, you know, if you're struggling with any sort of health issues or anything like that, you know, maybe reach out to your health practitioners, doctors, or whatever, if you need some help. But communication and talking to people, talk to people who understand you, you know, talking can definitely help. Don't sit in, you know, don't sort of voice how you feel. Find somebody to communicate with. And try to get your points across. But if you're suffering with depression, then maybe you should seek some guidance, seek some help. But it's good that you're on
Absolutely.
here today. And it's lovely that you're on here, and we thank you for coming. And I'm sure the family will be sending lots of healing your way, because, you know, don't underestimate the power of spiritual healing, because that can definitely help. But talk to people, talk how you feel, And I wish you well, and I hope that you move forward out of this place that you're in. And just think about, write down what was important to you, because sometimes journaling can help. Write down the things that you loved and think about how they made them feel, and that can change your mindset sometimes. So just think about that.
Absolutely. The fact that you've reached out today, Jane, shows you're ready. You're ready for that. So well done. It's not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
So, Karen, would you like to go first in your reading?
You see, it's your turn this week. I went first last week, so it's your turn
Right.
this week.
I
We take it in turns, Chris. So
But you
it's
know, this is a new show. This isn't Nick's show anymore. This is anyone.
No, I know.
Ladies
I know.
first. I know.
But well,
But
I'm very good. We always take it in turns. I think it's only fair. So you can start this week and I'll start next week.
okay. There's a link here with the spirit world. I know that I've got a lady that wants to come forward here. And this lady, I know she wants to reach out to her daughter. So it's her daughter that's here. And as she reaches out to the daughter, I just feel as I want to say to her, I'm here. I've got you. I know you miss me. I know the pain is real. So you must have been very close here to your mother, because I feel like this was more than just a mother-daughter relationship. It was a friendship as well. It was a whole world. She meant the whole world to you. And I know that this lady would have taken care of you as mothers do, but she went always above and beyond. It was the things that she didn't mention that she would do for you, not look, she wasn't the type of lady that, look what I've done for you. She was just very much one of those, I do it, and I do it not because I want recognition, but I do it for my love for you. But this lady, I also know here that with her health, there were quite a few problems here, but I know she would be, she shows me I think the lady was slightly bigger chested, but she shows me here that she would have had a problem here with the, I feel like this, I can't even say the word, the sarcophagus, you know what I mean? It would be the windpipes here, the tube, that there, because I do feel there would be a problem at time with the breathing. So I'm going to say that I get the distinct impression there could have been asthmatic or bronchial problems there too with her. I do feel that this lady did love to treat and spoil you, and I know there was nothing better than a good slice of cake and a lovely cup of tea out of a real cup, she says, a real cup. So she would have enjoyed that. I know as she talks about you, and at the moment that you're finding life a little bit disjointed. And she tells me that everything isn't quite as you would like it to be. And she knows that you're feeling a little lost and a little alone in this. So do we have any takers of this at the moment? Nothing yet. All right. As we carry on, I do feel with this lady, she talks about having a good dress sense. A good dress sense. It sounds like my nan, she was like my mum more than my mother. Brilliant. That would sound right, because it was the mother aspect. I do feel that this lady, she would have also, she shows me, there would have been a scarf she would have worn around her neck loosely, as though I feel like, I don't know whether it's got a brooch or it's got a little something that just holds it together, but slightly lower down, not at the neck, as she shows me this. And I know I want to sit correctly with this lady. If she wasn't a teacher, I'm going to say that I felt like if she wasn't a teacher, she would have taught a lot. And I do feel like I want to teach children. I really want to inspire and help children. So she would have been a great source of inspiration to children. And I know, as I said that too, that music was very, very important. Music. was very important to this lady. And as to you here too. I kind of think that she wanted you to do dance, but I'm unsure whether you did, because she used to love watching you dance around her. And I know that she would try to encourage you to do this. So I do feel I wanted to take you forward in dance somehow as well. But as she comes forward here, it's remember who you are. Remember who you are. And that's very much on the theme that we've been talking about today. You know, okay. All right. Sorry, that was just Richard there talking to us as well. She loved music and would always take me old time dancing. Not a teacher,
Oh,
but she had a lot of grandkids and she always took them in. Brilliant. I do feel that this is how she was. She would be an inspirer. She would teach you certain things. But I know that this lady had, I'm going to say a lovely laugh. It sounded more like a giggle. So I want a little giggle rather than a laugh here. And I do feel too, there must be memories of here, apple bobbing. She shows me apple bobbing. So I know at this time is when we're gathering it, this time of year we'll be gathering in the apples. And I do feel there would have been some sort of apple tree, not too far away if it wasn't in the garden, but I want to, bring these old-fashioned games forward. So I know that apple bobbing would be there, and it looks like it was a whole big tin bath that used to be a big tin bath. She'd pull it outside. So, and we do this apple bobbing there too. So she just wants you to remind you of that love and that beautiful smile that she had and she still has. And I know if there must be an old jewelry box or an old box that still has one or two of her little things in, because she says, go and see them, go and see them, and remember what we had. Remember what we had, because you've still got it here too. So she'll just leave you with all her love and her inspiration, and know that this lady is still inspiring you today. God bless.
oh, that was beautiful, Chris. Some lovely memories there, which is so important. And I'm sure Sam can take that. There was also a few other people I think could understand it too.
I do feel the apple bobbing was quite important.
Yeah, and I think Sam could understand that. So yeah, there was a lot of that Sam could take. I was watching the comments there.
Yeah,
So that's wonderful. So do you know what? The power of love from the spirit world never ceases to amaze me. I have to say that. And as I
absolutely.
say that, she says, I found some of her things the other day. Thank you so much, Chris. Oh, it's wonderful that she came through with the wonderful mediumship of this lovely man. So now I've got this wonderful gentleman here, and as I talk about love, it's just oozing from him. And I do feel he's dad. He's not, I wanted to say father, but he corrected me. He was always dad. And I just feel that he was a little bit hard of hearing as well. It was either he was hard of hearing or he was selective with his hearing, because I do feel that he was sort of say, what was that? What was that? I just feel that was sort of, what he would get you to repeat, things if he wasn't sure. But he comes with a heart full of love. And I do feel here that he sort of had to, I just feel that I want to say that he was mum and dad, because I feel that there must have been a time when he was on his own, and he was sort of did a lot of the bringing you up, because I just feel that he was mum and dad sometimes, because I've got him sort of in the kitchen doing the cooking, the washing, the cleaning, and he's just chucked a tea towel over his shoulder. But I do feel that he had a really, really good sense of humor as well. And he just comes with a great deal of love. I do feel he's quite a stocky man, I want to say. He's quite strong. Andrea, you can understand this. He's quite strong because I feel that up here he's got quite big biceps, and I do feel that he used to lift you up really high when you were little, and you would giggle and laugh, and it was like he'd sort of more or less chuck you over at the top of his head. And he always had a laugh, and he always had a joke. But I just feel here he's just put something on the table, and I think it must be a pie or something. And I feel that it was a little bit burnt on top. So I feel that it took him a while to sort of like suss out his cooking skills. But there was always love and laughter in the house, he wants me to express, because he thought that that was important. And I also feel here, Andrea, if right, you can understand this. So I'm going to work with Andrea, if I may. I just feel that I'm sitting around this round table, and I just feel that this was the time, this was the place where he would chat to you, and that all the family chit chat would go on, and he would find out about your day. He'd want to know what was going on in your life, and he had this subtle way of finding out if things weren't right with you. And I do feel there's some boys in the family as well. So I'm being made aware of two boys, two brothers. So I just feel here that he just wants to draw close to you and the boys in the family too. I feel here that he couldn't accept, he didn't always accept help. So I feel that when he was ill, he sort of like he struggled with that, and I feel that was the only time he struggled. And apart from that, he was always laughing, and he always saw the funny side of life. And I feel, but there was one time when he was struggling with his health, and I feel his physical body suffered a little bit. I feel his physical body suffered, and he even doesn't want me to talk about that now, Andrea, because he's sort of pushing me onto the subject of, oh, do you remember that time? And I and I don't know if he was a window cleaner, but he's showing me a ladder now, and it was either somebody had to climb up the ladder to get in the window, or he's cleaning windows. But I just feel that people would always help. People would go to him for help, either for listening or for practical purposes, because I just feel he was quite good with his hands, and he was a very practical man. And he just comes with a great deal of love for you, Andrea. But I feel here that it's almost as if he shut himself away from people, because he didn't want them to see him when he wasn't at his strongest or at his best. But I feel that there was so much kindness given to him, in sort of like thanks for everything that he'd done for them. And I also feel that friends of yours offered help, Andrea, because I just feel that at one time your house was always full of youngsters, always full of people. And everybody would sit down. It was a bit of and there was so much noise, and everybody sort of trying to talk at once, and trying to sort of, I just feel just a great sense of energy, a lovely sense of fun and love in your home growing up, which is absolutely wonderful. I also feel here that he would have loved to be outside, because there must have been fields near you. And I feel that you would have run around in a field or a playing field, and there would have been family rounders or cricket or something that you all would have played as a family. And everybody would have come together and brought food, and it would have been an absolute hoot. And those are the days that he loved. And I do feel he loved the sunshine, because he absolutely loved the sun on his back. And I do feel he would have worked outdoors at one time. Okay, Richard's just back, so that's good. And I just feel that there was just, he was worked outside but loved being outside. And I do feel that he must have worked, I don't know if he was a farm connected, but I'm just aware of fields, and I feel that he would have worked on a farm at a part of his life, and he loved nature and he loved the earth. So he's just coming in with a great deal of love for you, and just to let you know that he's okay and that he's still around, because he still wants to make you laugh at this time, and he also wants to say thank you for everything that you did for him. I feel that you had to step up to the plate to look after him, and he just wants to be there for you now, and he wants to give you strength, because I just feel that he's still there for the family, because I just feel that the family need to come together. And I feel that there's been a little bit of an upset. I don't know if there's been a recent funeral or recent passing, but I just see that people are a little bit sad at this gathering. So, and he doesn't want people to be sad. He wants people to be happy and to celebrate life, because he says life is for celebrating. He had his own philosophy. He had his own way of doing things, and he says, so do you. And he wants you to stay true to yourself and stick to your guns. And his heart is bursting with so much love for you. So take his love, and thank you for working with me.
Wonderful, Karen. Thank you.
Oh.
Such a lot of love in there, wasn't there?
Oh, don't. It was just it was overwhelming. It really was. My goodness, it really was.
I love the way they get that across, and they bring such feeling with it, a whole range of emotions, really.
Definitely, definitely.
So I just
she lost her brother in October, so that makes sense, Andrea.
now
So
I
just
wish
wants to
she
step
hadn't
forward.
said that, because I felt I got a brother with me. But anyway, so we're going to work here, though. I do feel I've got a younger male coming towards me, and I'm not sure whether this is Dad who passed to spirit younger, but there must be specific memories of space hoppers, because he keeps showing me a space hopper and a hula hoop. So I know that as I feel that I want to talk about joining in with these games, there must be a memory of him trying to bounce on this and thinking, oh my God, it's going to pop, because as he's on it, and I know that he would have fallen off, and the laughter. So this was a gentleman that was very much involved in your life. It was all about the fun element, and I can hear that the women in his life would be telling him to grow up here. I also felt that there was a problem here between him and Mum, so I don't know whether they split permanently or they just split for a little while. But I do feel this gentleman did become so ill, bless him, and I know that it took some time, for him to pass, as he said. But he said, I kept clinging on and I kept trying to go forward here. But if he wasn't your dad, I've got to say that I would feel that he would come across as a little bit of a dad figure, because I think he must have been older by some years than you. And I know that Andrea said this. If this still sounds like your brother, could you just let me know here? But as he came through here, I kind of want to say that I am with two other males in the spirit world, so there must be three. I feel like I'm wanting another brother, or somebody that was like a brother plus father. So I want his father and then his brother, or somebody like a brother to him. But it was this fun element that he wanted to bring into your life here. I also feel that this man shouldn't have been smoking, but he was. I know that as he says, I want a crafty fag, and he would disappear, because I feel I want a laughter. I always knew where you were. All I had to do was follow the smoke signals. So I would see smoke rise up from behind a shed, and I knew where you were. All right. So it got such a fun side to him. It was all about this beauty of fun, laughter. He wanted to inspire. He really wanted to inspire here. Okay. I do feel the other lady, I've forgotten her name.
Sharon, I think it was.
Yeah, Sharon. Would you understand the space opera? Because I do know that this is quite a big part because I'm shown space hopper, but I also feel like I want a chopper as well, the old chopper bike. So this takes me back to the 70s or late 70s here. So I want that era, you know, with him. And because I do feel that this gentleman absolutely loved his flares. And if I'm not wrong, there was a little platform he would used to wear as well on his shoe. So wow, that's taken us back, isn't it? You know?
It is.
So I'm going back to that era, and that would have to absolutely ring true with any of you. But I know his battle here with his health conditions, was definitely my dad. He really had his battle, his issue, and at one point, I know that this gentleman must have either fallen out of bed or from his ill bed, or as getting out, he fell, because I see this falling. And if I'm correct, I feel like I could have passed, or that was the start of the passing when that happened. So to me, this was still a very young-minded man, very young-minded in his mind, in his head. I know that you too must have been so close, because his love that he gives for you is absolutely outstanding here too. I've also got to say here, I think he was slightly gifted with maybe electronics. He shows me fixing a radio. So there must be memories of him taking apart a little transistor and played on mine. Ah, right. And
Oh,
in the 70s. So this is correct. So brilliant. Do you remember his flares, Sharon? Because he shows me these flares. So I know he would have had a flares. And also, if I'm not mistaken, he had quite some sideburns, some impressive ones by the look of it here, as he shows me the side of his face. So I do feel that this is with you, Sharon. But he wanted to just bring in that memory, because if I'm not mistaken, you've been taking a trip down memory lane with this gentleman in mind. And says, I'm never very far away from you, you know? And I'm not sure if you would have been around 17 when he passed. So I know 17, age of 17 was quite significant. All right. So I just want to leave you with his love and say thank you very much for working with me, and God bless you.
oh, that was lovely, Chris. Do you know what? You took me back to choppers and space hoppers. I had a space hopper. So I love it. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
We weren't that
I
rich
just
enough.
Oh, I love my space hopper. Do you know what? I'll still get on one now. If I see one, I grab one and I try, I try and bounce around the place on the kids' space hopper. Normally
I
end up
pay to
on
see
my
that.
I normally end up on my bum, but there you go. Anyway, I've got a lady here. I'm just and I feel that I said, who are you? And she said, Auntie Pat. So if anybody can understand an Auntie Pat in the spirit world, please let me know. I do know that she was very good with sewing, especially when she's talking about needlepoint. So I know that she did sewing, just general sewing, but I do feel she would have done some needlepoint like embroidery. And I feel that she would have made sort of things, embroidery. This is going back a little bit, because they would have been embroidered sort of like placemats that you'd put on dressing tables and tables. So I know that she would have done quite a lot of that. I feel that she had issues with her heart, or definitely the chest area. I feel the shortness of breath here. And I do feel that she liked a bit of a gossip, although she said that she didn't. But I feel that her ears would twitch up if something, a bit of juicy gossip around the area or around the family was going on, and she'd want to be in the thick of it. And she had a way of finding out through poignant questions about what was going on. She was quite a clever lady, I feel. But I feel that sometimes that she would have possibly rubbed people up the wrong way, but not intentionally. I just feel she spoke as she found, and she would say it as it was. She's quite an interesting character. And I do feel she lived in a community that was quite a close-knit community. So I do feel that we've got people living quite close together as they used to do years ago. So if anybody can understand this, I just feel that I do have her with me, and she just wants to be remembered to her niece, I want to say. So I feel that her niece must be on here. And she just wants to be remembered to her niece. I know that okay, you would have spent time with her when you were younger, I feel. You would have gone to hers after school sometimes. And I just feel that she just wants to draw close to you. Because I feel that you and her quite a close bond. And she could, I feel that she went through quite a tough time in her life. She didn't always have it easy. So I don't know if anybody can understand this. If you do, please let me know. Nothing yet. Okay. But she just comes here with a great deal of love for her niece. And if you can't understand it, then maybe somebody that's coming on later on may be able to understand it. But I definitely feel it's Auntie Pat. And also she just wants to come in. I do feel like she liked a G&T. She liked a little drink every so often as well. So I feel here that if it's not a blood auntie, I feel that she was close to your mum. So it could be a good friend that was known as Auntie Pat. But I just know that Auntie Pat is here, and I feel that she just wants to draw close to somebody that's on here or will watch back later on. Right, okay. But I did feel it was Auntie Helen. I don't want to change that because I definitely got Auntie Pat. So I know there's this aunt connection somewhere. But thank you for putting your comments up. But I just feel that she is for somebody on here because I got the Auntie Pat straight away. And I just know that she did have issues with her heart. So if nobody can understand that, maybe it might be for somebody when they're watching back later on, as sometimes happens on here. But if you can just take her love, because she just wants to be remembered to you. She just wants to be remembered to let you know that she's around. My friend had an Auntie Pat, but she's not on here. They were close with my friend's mum's sister. Kimberly, if that's the case, can you please pass it on? All right, Auntie Pat is on the earth plane, my mum's mum. I did feel that Auntie Pat was in the spirit world, Helen, so I'm just going to work with Kimberly for the minute. So Kimberly, if you could pass this on, I'd be eternally grateful. Because she's taken the time to come. So I feel that she just wants to get a message to her niece. I feel she wants to give her strength, and she wants to give her love, and she just wants to bring back memories of those times when the family were together. Because this is what she's talking about. She's bringing back those memories. And I also feel there's a ring that she would have left that your friend would know about, Kimberly. So I feel it's a ring, and also something to do about pearls as well. So she's also saying pearls as in the necklace, but also pearls of wisdom. And I feel that there would have been ladies sitting together, sort of bringing pearls of wisdom about life, a little bit about like we were talking about earlier. So okay. I mean, my friend's mum was Pat's sister. Okay, so you can understand this. Okay, well, I'll just carry on and bring it to a close. And if you could pass the message on, that would be great. So she just comes with a great deal of love. And I just feel that she just wants to bring back the memories of yesteryear, and she's bringing strength and determination. So take her love. Take her love, and thank you. Thank you.
Well done, Karen.
So, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes, sometimes the messages especially on here, can be for friends of friends, or sometimes they can be picked up later on. But normally we try to place them when we're actually on the live. So I hope that can be placed. So that's good. It's good.
And it's quite difficult doing it on here, isn't it?
Sometimes it can be, but we keep going on. We're onward and upwards, as they say.
We need to teach the viewer how to type quicker, I think.
Well, there's that delay as well, which Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that delay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you what, it really teaches you to hone up your mediumship. It's helped me a lot over the past year or so to sort of, to firm up on stuff. So, as we were
Yeah.
saying, it's about the, evolving and learning as we go on as well.
One day you'll be a great medium, Karen.
Oh, thanks so much.
So on that note, I think we've come to a close, bringing the close to the end of the day. And,
Yes.
thank
Yeah.
you very much for those who took the time to interact with us and pose your questions and answer some questions. And I just hope
Absolutely.
that it's brought that inspiring thought to you. What can you do? How can you develop yourself? How can you go forward and interact with your spirit guides, helpers, friends, whatever you wish to call them? Wouldn't you agree
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely, 100%. It's important that we stay true to ourselves, awaken that spirit within, and just be who we are meant to be, whatever pathway, whatever journey we're traveling on. And there's lots of people in the unseen world that help us, but there's also lots of people that guide and help us in the physical world. But we can also help ourselves as well. And if you would like to connect more with SPTV, we have the app, we have the Facebook page, and we have the website. But don't forget, we have tonight, as I said before, 7 p.m, the amazing Deb Clark. On Wednesday, at 7 p.m, we have Claire Pasterfield. And on Thursday, we have Emily Baker at 6. So lots still going on this wonderful channel. And Chris and I will be back next week at 10:30 to start your day again. And so whatever you're doing, enjoy the rest of your week. And until we meet again on this wonderful channel, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. So God bless you all and have a thoroughly amazing week. Until next week.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.